This week's message is about trusting the deeper intelligence that's guiding your life. I was recently listening to an interview, and one of the things the interviewee said was, "This is who I am, and this is what I do." And it struck me so deeply, something so simple, but it reminded me of those times I was trying to convince other people of what I do, trying to explain it and justify it and make it sound legitimate so that other people would believe in it. And over time, I started to see that there was a part of me that didn't fully believe my own gift. There was a part of me that believed I wasn't ready, I wasn't qualified enough, that my work needed other people's belief to be valid in the world. So I would be in these conversations with friends doing the thing that I would often do, over explaining and trying to explain what I do, trying to explain the reasoning behind the platform, trying to explain that I had trained and that I had transitioned not fully from singing, but that I was following something new. And it wasn't just that I diluted it, I downplayed it. I called it, a hobby, something on the side, or I would straight up not talk about it at all. I would deflect. I would turn away from the spotlight and ask, enough about me. So what are you doing? So I didn't have to talk about myself. And we do this. It's kind of quintessential. It's kind of textbook. At least it was for me. And meanwhile, I was spending hours digesting material, learning, following this part of me that was clearly waking up inside. And yet I still felt ashamed. I felt ashamed because I had spent so long going after the career that made sense. I had the music degree, I did the programs. I actually have two and a half music degrees. The half of it is a story for another day. But I'd been singing, I'd had the career. So when something new began to emerge, it felt like I was betraying or undoing all of that. You know those moments when someone says, "Oh, oh, that's good for you." And because the belief you already hold about yourself, it lands as condescending. Or you tell people you're doing something else, they see it as a hobby, and there's this wave of shame that arises. You might start judging them, talking about them, or even pushing them out of your circle. And what's actually happening is that we're used to their response to confirm a belief that we're already carrying about ourselves. It's not them. It is our own inner narrative being reflected back to us. And one of the things I always return to is that life is constantly pointing us back to a deeper knowing of self, real authenticity, to beliefs that support us moving to a fuller expression of who we are. And for me, when I started this platform a little over 2 years ago, I simply just started. It was not polished, it was not fully clear. It was a way to find my way, to give shape to something I could feel, but I could not yet define. And at the same time, I was hiding. I didn't want to be known publicly. I didn't want people to see what I was doing because of what that might mean for my other career, my other identity. I didn't want to be viewed as someone who was being taken seriously in either space. So I downplayed it. I called it a hobby, something on the side, or avoiding talking about it completely, even though it was beginning to feel like a true vocation, a real multifaceted expression of my own gifts. That experience is not just mine. And many of us go through some version or variation of this. We feel like something new is waking up in us, but we're afraid of what it might mean for the identities people already recognize. Part of this process is learning how to feel safe in our bodies while being seen, learning to notice when people don't fully understand us or don't care about much about what we do, and recognizing that at a deeper level, it is not a threat. It may feel uncomfortable, but it's not a threat to the truth of who we are. And when we begin to see that, We don't have to go to war with the world just because we have not yet fully accepted what we're here to offer. We will encounter people who don't really resonate with our path. We will also encounter people who genuinely support and encourage us. And taking stock of that without exaggerating either side is part of coming into a truer relationship with our lives. Imagine a moment where a family member asks you, "What are you doing with your career?" And you say, "I'm not really interested in being a doctor anymore. I've started to feel this pull toward teaching or maybe volunteering at homeless shelters," whatever it is in your case. There's a part of you that knows this pull is real. You've felt it building for a while, maybe not able to name it. On one level, this is about trust in that inner movement, that inner pull, that space in you that is guiding you. The same intelligence that turns the stars, that rotates the earth, and that creates the tides and the waves, that same intelligence is breathing through your life. Trusting that is one part, but there's also conviction. The trust says something true is moving in me. There's also the conviction that says I am willing to stand in that truth. The conviction becomes the actual embodiment. And, you know, it feels like it comes with time because we're untangling these deeper belief systems and energetic patterns that have kept us from seeing ourselves clearly. It can take time, and sometimes it does, but it doesn't have to take time the way we've been taught to think about it. What matters is our willingness to stand in whatever is waking up in us, to let it shape the way we show up, even while it is unfolding. A lot of our fears come from being seen in our process. We don't want people to challenge what we think or what we feel. We're afraid that their questions might expose how fragile our trust in ourselves still is. If there is a genuine desire in you to express, to be seen, to share, and the only thing holding you back is the fear of being misunderstood, judged, or triggered, that is an important signal. It's pointing you back toward a fragment of yourself that is asking to be witnessed. This, in many ways, is part of the hero's journey. On the hero's journey, we leave what is familiar, we face the obstacles, we encounter the villains, we walk through the peaks and troughs, but underneath all that, we are facing ourselves. We're meeting our fears, our stories, our illusions, and we're discovering something truer. But that journey does not end when we find that truth. There's also another crucial stage, which is the coming home. We come home to the same environment, the same family, the same community, the same patterns of daily life. And the challenge at this stage is to be embodied in the integrated version of ourselves. We truly don't become integrated just because we've had an insight or a breakthrough somewhere far away from home, you know? That integration begins when the truth is inhabited in our system, in our choices, in our presence, in the places that once knew a different version of us. We come back and we practice being who we've become. We allow the same conversations to meet a different consciousness. We allow the same dynamics to be met with a different response. We find our integration by accepting reality for what it is, not trying to change people, not by needing them to get it, not by living on defense. We stand in the knowingness of who we are now. We stand in who we have become. We recognize that no one can take that away from us. Sometimes this coming home can feel like a bit of a coming out. In my own life, it felt similar to my experience of coming out as a gay man in a deeply religious environment, there was a sense of having to reveal something true to people who had always known me in a particular way. But this isn't about me. It's about the many ways we feel like we are coming out as our truer selves to our families, to our friends and our communities, sometimes even to ourselves. We hear phrases like, move in silence or disappear, become the new person, and then show up one day. And and sometimes that is an important step, but it's about more than just leaving. It's returning as who we've become. It's showing up in the same spaces with a different inner posture. We feel quieter, we're less reactive. We're less easily pulled back into those older identities. We begin to see the world through different eyes of compassion, acceptance, equanimity, curiosity. We're not judging people in the same way because we recognize something, that we are creators of our experience. And everyone else is also creating the reality from information they have and the level of consciousness they're currently at. And beneath all of this, many of us share a common story, that we're searching for ourselves. We're searching for the puzzle pieces, searching for the fragments of our own soul, our truth. There is a deep trust we're being invited into, a trust in what is being pruned and developed within us, in the gifts that are being nurtured. And that trust grows as we stay in touch with the presence inside of us, not only through other people's validation. Validation can help because we are relational beings. Being seen and supported matters. But the foundation of trust comes from direct contact with that inner presence, that part of us that knows even before anything is proven on the outside. At some point, the balance shifts. The life calling us forward becomes more interesting, more alive than the life we've left behind. There's a richness, a sense of this is mine, that makes going back feel less and less possible. We begin to care less about how every person interprets our path, not because we shut down, but because we are more deeply connected to what is unfolding within us. We share more. We we speak more clearly. That was mine. We're less likely to stumble over our words when someone asks, "So what do you do?" Because we're no longer trying to prove something. We're simply naming what feels true. You might think of those moments when you're at dinner or you're on the phone with family, you're out with your coworkers or sitting with someone who might invest in your work. And you feel yourself shrinking or stumbling when you try to explain what you're creating. Those moments are less about language and more about belief and trust. Now, there are very practical things we can do, like, practicing in front of a mirror or speaking our truth out loud, even when no one is there. But those practices become powerful when they come from a deeper intention, which is staying in touch with our own inner wisdom. And that looks different for each of us. There's one core question: who do you want to be? And what kind of life do you want to create? This is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I've been called to do. I'm honored to God. I'm honored that God chose to express itself through me in this way, in a way that can only be expressed through me, through my particular life and my heart. And how special is that? How unique is that? How important that is? What's that for you?